Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Threezero DLX Iron Man Mark III, part of the Infinity Saga. It's just the Iron Man Mark III. Do we have to add Infinity Saga to everything? Did they do that to differentiate it from everything that's going on now? I'm curious. Anyway, it's a really good release, and I'm trying to dive into some more Iron Man figures to see which ones are the best. Most of them are found lacking, if you ask me, just because it's a hard design to make work in real life because it's mostly CGI in the movies. But this one is pretty darn good, and it offers a lot of things that I think you guys might like. I like them, and we're going to see if it's good enough to get. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. Alrighty, so before we look at the figure, I do want to show you my package. It's a nice package. I like the way they added a little bit of stylization with the white lines around the edge. That's cool. Metallic gold. Otherwise, pretty straightforward packaging. Nothing too crazy going on really anywhere. It's pretty basic. But you do get a nice flap with not the best photo situation going on here, but it's there. And then you get the figure front and center. So yeah, it's perfectly acceptable. I don't mind that the packaging isn't super fancy because they clearly spent a lot of money on the figure. And for coming in at $100, you get a whole lot for your money here. So that's really nice. Now, as we do the review, I am going to turn off his special parts because I don't want to kill the batteries for no reason. Okay, so let's do a quick question of the day. Which MCU Iron Man suit is your favorite, and which figure of any of the MCU suits is your favorite? For me, I think I have to go Mark 7, but then it would be Mark 3 and then Mark 46. And as far as the figures go, I don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out. But this one's up there. This guy stands just over 7 inches, about 7 1/8. That's going to make him roughly, we'll call it 18.25 centimeters. Here he is up against Darwin. So he's a little big. He's a little big. You could definitely fudge it, I think, into the scaling. But he's a little big. I don't know what scale, if these are supposed to be, like they're definitely not 1/12 scale. I don't know if they're a scale at all. It's weird. I didn't look into that because I didn't think I had to. I thought it was just 1/12 scale, but it seemed big. Anyway, you can see how big it is. So let's go ahead and look at this guy's aesthetics. I love the paint scheme. They have been nailing paint. You know what? Threezero is becoming one of my favorite companies. Their painting and sculpting has been on point for so many figures at this point. It's really nicely done. This guy's easily one of the best finished Iron Man figures, especially for the price point. He does have the light up features you already saw. We'll get to that later, but he's a good looking figure. I think they did a good job incorporating the shoulders. It's never perfect, like I said, because it's a lot of CGI in the movies, but they did a good job making him look fairly seamless. A lot of figures look like they have a ball stuck onto the side of the body, so they did a good job. And then, like I said, the paints are clean. It's super sharp and crispy. And now he's not the most intricate Iron Man suit, but they did do a very, very nice job bringing him to life. Is it 100% perfectly accurate? No, but I definitely think it's good enough. Aesthetically, it's really nice. It's very, very nice. I think my biggest gripe, honestly, would be the hands. The paint's a little light. They need to throw another coat on there, and it would probably help. But it's not super obvious, so I'll let it slide a little bit, but not completely. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. Okay, for accessories, this guy has a good spread of interchangeable hands, everything you would need, including painted and peg hole having hands for the repulsor blasts. So I really like that. You have your options that I think every Iron Man figure should have. He has 4 different sets of 2 sets, 4 total repulsor blasts. You can use either of them in his hands, but also in the feet, so that's cool. You get the interchangeable forearm piece to have the shooty thing on there, and that's nice. And then you do get a display stand, which is very basic. It's just black and it looks cheap, but it's fine. It'll hold the figure up if you need it to. It snaps into his upper butt, and that's good. So it's not the greatest spread, but it's certainly everything you would need for a Mark III Iron Man, and I'm perfectly okay with that. So I will go I'm still going to go 8. You could have more blast effects or things like that, but it's still really good. You could argue 9, but I don't know. Whatever, you can pick. It's a lot of stuff. Alright, so let's talk about the articulation. This guy has some engineering. Let me tell you, they put some extra effort into this that I don't even think they needed to bother with. They put extra money into it, and I'm fine with it. Like, it's good. but I think they could have easily got away without doing it, but I'll tell you why they did it, and I am happy with it. So, the head, it's pretty much your standard ball pegs. He's got a thick neck and armor around it and a helmet on, so you're going to have some limitation, but you'll be able to pose it well enough. Can he look up? Not so well. So the flight pose might be a little bit of a limiting factor for you. There we go. But otherwise, he's going to be fine. If you're going to keep him on the ground, or at least not having to make his head look all the way up, you'll be okay, but it is pretty limited. For the shoulders, I'll show you this. Let me just do this. All right, we can pop him off right there, because you have to get to the battery section. But you can see inside very nicely. So for the shoulders, you can see the big silver thing in there. That's the butterfly joint. It doesn't go forward as far as you think it might based on what it looks like in there, but it does bring the arm forward, and it's not the worst looking thing in the world. It's not great, but it's not the worst, and if you don't look at it from the back, like why would you be doing that, it's okay. Now, while we have it here, I can show you the arm also has a hinge to raise it up. So you definitely have some options there to get that shoulder up and away from the body. And if that wasn't enough, let's put that back in. You also have this, which you can see from the inside just a little bit. You see those little red nubbins right above my finger? That allows you to do this. Which, yeah, it covers up the chest reactor, but it moves the chest armor in so that you have more clearance over here. And that's super cool. I don't know how effective that's going to be. It depends on your specific pose, I'm sure. And I don't love that it covers the reactor, but I don't know how else they could do it. But they give you extra, and that's why they did that. Because if they left it, you'd have this little red nubbin sticking out right here, getting in the way. So could they have gotten away with not doing that? For sure, nobody does that, but they did it. So that's really nice. The shoulders were very well thought out. And then, of course, you have your shoulder pad, which is too easy to pop off, if you ask me. That's kind of annoying, but it has, obviously, its hinge up here, and it hinges in the shoulder, so these get out of the way for sure. Like, you can move these arms. Now, I will note, mine are super tight. I was talking to my buddy. He had really tight ones, too. He said he was able to fix it with some lube. I haven't tried lubing mine yet, but they are super tight, but you can get the arms to work pretty nicely. These shoulder pads get in the way a little. Depends how much you're moving it, but I think for the amount of range, that's really good. I don't think you can do too much better than that. So that's really nice. You get your full-on shoulder. Really no issues. It's really surprisingly well done. Very, very nicely done. You get your bicep swivel in here too. That's very nicely hidden under the shoulder armor. Double jointed elbow. Not the best thing we've ever seen, but it's perfectly acceptable. And then your wrists are just ball pegs. I do wish those were a little bit more fleshed out, but they're fine. Like, they're okay. They're a little gappy, but you don't really need that much range, so I'm okay with the range part. Just, it's not the best looking. While we're here, I will go ahead and show you, we have these flaps, which I don't care personally if they ever add these to an Iron Man figure. I'm never going to use them, and I always feel like they're just going to break. Can't even get that one. There we go. I mean, yes, it's a nice detail, and I know they should be there. I'm not actually complaining, but personally, I will never use these. I don't think. I never have. They're nicely done, though. They pop off very easily, which is annoying, but also it's like they're not going to break, so that's good. Unless you're really manhandling it, then you might break them. But they're very thin plastic, but they fit into place nicely, so that's a good thing. Now, while we have him off, we've already covered the top half. I want to show you this. This is the big metal peg that his torso connects to, so obviously you can rotate it around that. But this is his leaning side to side also. Not the most range, and I'll show you with him on it, but I wanted to show you while it's here because we have it. And this is also his ab crunch, or at least part of it. That's that. Alright, it's a strange setup. It is functional, but here's one of the reasons why at first I was not so keen on these figures. You end up with a really big gap around the torso, and you can actually get it down a little farther. You don't have to go as far back on there, but you end up with a big shelf right there, and I don't love that. It takes away a lot from the look. So that's a bit of a bummer for me, and I don't think it's necessary to be there. But let's go ahead and show you the functionality of the torso. So you get that main joint, then you get some extra other joints. It works pretty well. It's surprisingly good. Can we get any more out of that? No, that's about it. So you get some here, some here, some here. It works. He leans forward. Does he lean back? He's not flying. You're not getting him into a really good flight pose. Frankly, the head can't lean back, and neither can the body. And boy, is that gap just egregious. Going side to side, like I showed you. Not the most, but it's there. hey, what the heck, it's there. For an Iron Man figure, I think they did a pretty good job. Now for the hips, if you thought they over-engineered the chest, just wait. You can bring the whole thing forward to get that out of the way. Does anything else move? I thought it did, maybe not. I don't know, I got this guy a couple days ago and haven't touched him since. But yeah, you can move the whole thigh piece forward and out of the way. And that allows you to bring his leg up higher. Does it go? I don't think that... Oh yeah, that's right. There's a slip joint in here. There we go. There's the slip joint. I knew there was one more part. So yeah, it gets super goofy looking. It's not for that. Don't put him in that pose. What are you doing? That's for this pose right here. So you can bring his leg all the way up. And it does look goofy until you get him in the pose. And then it, like, you can kind of hide it. So is it the best thing ever? I don't know. I don't know. I understand what they were going for, and it is effective. You can raise his leg, but you have to be at just the right angle or it's going to look like butts. So, I don't know. I've seen Hot Toys figures that don't handle it significantly better. They either have less range or less aesthetic. Well, I think it's just less range. So, I don't know. You take the trade-off however you want. He has the range. I'll give him that. Bringing the leg out to the side. Is there another movement piece? I don't remember anything else moving. Does this move? I don't think so. I think that's it. I think just going out to the side, it's like, just be careful because you don't need to do the splits. I think. I guess you could do this. Pop it out and go farther. Yeah, that's as far as it feels like it goes anyway. So you can pop it out and then squish it back in. Yeah, so he's got good range. It's definitely engineered. I don't want to say over-engineered because it works. But yeah, be aware that there's a lot going on there. But you wouldn't even know to look at it. So I think that's super cool. Thigh swivel is definitely functional. The knees, not super dissimilar to the SH Figure Arts. Not the best looking, but functional enough. And then for the ankles, we have a flap back here and a flap at the front to allow the foot to move. Oops, it's a double ball peg. It does pop off too easily, and it doesn't have the best range. Leaning forward is better than leaning back, which I think is okay. But it looks nice, and you get a decent ankle rocker out of it. And the toe hinge is, not particularly good. So yeah, is it the best articulated thing I've ever seen? No, definitely not. Did they put a lot of effort and thought into it? For sure, and I definitely appreciate that. And I think it will definitely pose well enough. So I'm going to give his articulation rating an 8. For this design, I think they did a really good job, and I don't know that you could do too much better overall. Like in little spots maybe, but I think it's going to be perfectly acceptable, especially at the $100 price point. I do wish you could close his legs. You can't close his legs, so that's bothersome to me. Really, the legs and this gap right here are the two biggest factors for me. But otherwise, it's a really excellent release. So I'm going to give it an overall rating of, I'm going to go 9, but with the caveat of those articulation issues. The big gap here sucks, and the hips kind of, well, they don't suck, but they don't go in far enough. So there are problems. But otherwise, it's a super impressive figure. I realized I didn't talk about the light up feature. It lights up. It lights up really nicely. It's not going to change my rating because I already knew about it. You just didn't. It lights up nicely in the torso. You pop the head off. You have to provide your own batteries, by the way. And it lights up nicely in the head. They're super bright. You can't probably see it super well right now because of the studio lighting. But the fact that you can see it at all tells you it's super bright. It lights up very nicely, and it's not like a straight LED. I'll turn some lights off for you so you can have an idea. They frosted it, so it looks really good. Very pleased with it. Can I turn these off too? What the heck? Yeah, he looks nice. It's just the chest, though, and just the eyes, but it's done very well. You do have to buy your own batteries. These are AG1s, I believe, which I didn't have on hand, so that sucked. But it looks really good. Okay, so back to the final verdict. Yes, I'm going to stick with 9. I think it's a really, really strong release. Not perfect, that's why it's a 9, but a very nice figure. If you are into Iron Man, I think you should check out this line. I already have this one. I'm going to review the 46 and the 7 and maybe some other ones if you guys like these videos. But it's really good. I'm telling you, Threezero is impressing me lately, way more than I ever expected they would. So that's it for me. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.